All right, guys, I just saw a great X post along with an awesome article that I'm going to break down for you today. If you've ever started a company, if you're thinking about starting a company, if you're leading a team, or if you're any kind of leader at all, this is for you. So let's dive into this today because it's going to be some great advice. And I'm going raw, we're going unscripted, and I'm going to give to you some great advice as I go through this post and this article because here it is for you for real. Let's dive in today. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Pack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. With over a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years of software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, want to start off with this post for you here. Just read that Starbucks lost $30 billion after hiring a McKinsey consultant as CEO. Guy spent his career advising founders how to build companies, but never built one himself. 17 months later, he's gone. They bring in the Taco Bell CEO. Taco Bell, guys. Taco Bell CEO. And the market cap jumped $20 billion overnight. Turns out running a company is harder than advising one. Now, here at Startup Pack, I love to help people build custom software solutions, but I do this because I've built some of my own companies, 8 of my own brands, and many different things. So I've helped to build successful teams. So I can tell you right now, the biggest thing is the Taco Bell CEO knows how to build a lot of tacos and how to build them quickly. So he knows how to run a real company. So I found this article the other day that I really liked, and it says, I'll advise 50 plus startups. If you're still building your first one, read this, right? Or I've advised, right? So the thing that's interesting about this is this person has built their own company. And so shout out here to them. I'll put the links to their article down below. But I want to kind of go through some of this and give you guys my thoughts and my feedback on some of these. You shouldn't fall for insider secrets clickbait anymore. But since you're here, number 17 will make you question everything you know about product market fit. We'll talk about that on number 17. But if you see any kind of insider secret clickbait, bounce, right? Like go back to this post here, right? Turns out running a company is harder than advising one, okay? So it's a lot easier to armchair some of this stuff. Now, the compounding effect of checking your analytics every 5 minutes is a productivity killer. Your numbers won't magically improve because you stared at them harder. One of the things that I've found is that the shortest time you should be looking at your analytics is on a weekly basis. That's the shortest. And even a lot of your analytics won't move until the monthly basis. Looking at your analytics daily and trying to make judgments on a daily analytics is a terrible idea and a great way to make really bad interactive decisions. A week is an absolute minimum you should be looking at your numbers. And I'm saying minimum. Now, it should also kind of be the maximum, right? Because like you can be looking at them too much and you can be looking at them too little. So I find the week to be the sweet spot. So teams that I go through, I work with on KPIs and things every week. All right, learn to work even when your ideas seem stupid. If you're reading this, chances are you're building something that nobody wants, but that's normal for the first 47 pivots. Now, I don't think they really mean exactly 47, but the point is that I started Startup Pack as a YouTube channel, right, guys? Now, still doing the YouTube channel, right? And I appreciate all you guys' support, so leave a comment down below just at least to say hi. But we're now also a vocational school, we're a software consulting firm, and we're also a registered apprentice provider. So we have a lot of different things that we offer. We're also now building some of our own software that I'm really excited to tell you guys about. We also have some other ventures that are coming out. But again, this is the first 47 pivots, right? I can't tell you how many different pivots we had just even on getting the company off the ground in the first 2 years. I tell people my numbers in the first 2 years, and then I start talking about the first year and a half, and then I start talking about my second full year numbers, and that's when things get interesting. So just know the first 47 pivots are going to be pretty rough. Now, as soon as you get your first customer, you'll understand that having no customers was actually peaceful, but it's over. Deal with that support emails because they never stop coming, okay? So it's true, but you also should be in a rush to get that first customer. You absolutely should. You need to get those customers. I'm a huge believer in building on revenue. Now, some people say fail fast. They mean well, but they forget to mention that you will fail slowly, painfully, and repeatedly at first. This is also very true. Like I said, I had to go through 46 different pivots before I found the 47th. And I'm, using that number arbitrarily, right? It could be 27. We're just, but my point here is they say fail fast. It actually can be slow and painful to watch the fail sometimes. I've launched 8 successful brands. I've launched many unsuccessful brands. So just know that when they say fail fast, it means you're going to fail a lot. It's hard to change the world when you're running on 3 hours of sleep and instant ramen. Don't So don't apologize for 2 p.m. coffee shop nap between network meetings. Now, I'm going to change this one up just a little bit here. One of the things that I've definitely found is I'm more confident if I get at least 6 hours of sleep. 6 hours is my rule. I don't get under 6 hours. 6 hours is a minimum of sleep, but I wake up early. I try not to stay up too late anymore. So my rule is like I get up at 5, I try to be in bed by 11, right? And so I run on clockwork this way. And a lot of times if I'm more tired, I go to bed earlier. But one thing that is absolutely non-negotiable for me is working out, getting up and lifting heavy things. So cardio wears you out. Go lift heavy things. You are more confident when your body feels strong. And I think this is really important. So I would kind of change this a little bit to say, take that time to focus on yourself. It's important. Now, I'm not saying that this needs to be a 4-hour workout routine. And like, I'm talking about I hit the weights for 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. But it makes me feel much more confident and healthy and strong. Now, 7, in your first year, create multiple versions of your pitch deck. You need the "we're crushing it" version for investors, and "please help us" version for advisors. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Stay away from a pitch deck. Just go get some revenue. I'm not a big fan on raising money in your first year. Go get some customers. Go get some revenue. Prove your product. I'm actually not a big fan of this. So I'm actually going to kind of poo-poo on this one just a little bit and say, go get some revenue. Revenue solves all problems. This is like a Hormozy teaching, right? And if you don't follow Alex Hormozy, you absolutely should. So go follow Alex Hormozy. But I'm going to tell you right now, go get some revenue. Prove out your product. I don't care how good your pitch deck is. Go build a real product. Talk to your customers. So actually, one more thing before I move on from that one. I want to look at like Tesla's example here, right? It took them a lot, and they had to have investors and things to build the Model S, or the original Sportster, right? But they then took that revenue to fund out a lot of the rest of the initiatives that they worked on. And revenue solves all problems. All right. Talk to your customers, not the imaginary ones in your business plan, the real humans who might actually pay you money. Revolutionary concept, I know. But again, not might actually pay you money. Try with actually pay you money. Just take the word might out here. The real humans who actually pay you money. This becomes very different. When we started Clean Router, like one of the very first things was that we had pre-orders before the product was ready. That's how I knew we had a real product, right? If you are getting pre-orders, real money. We sold 20 just to family and friends before we even announced the launch, right? Just from people we had talked to that knew what we were working on. So this is my point, is like, and if you want to go check out Clean Router, it's a great router that filters the internet for parents. Check it out at cleanrouter.com. It is one of those 8 brands that I talked about. But I learned a ton from Clean Router in building that. So again, one of the very first things is go find somebody who will pay, not might, but actually pay you money. Revenue solves all problems, folks. All right, most lucrative thing you can do as a first-time founder, get really good at saying, I don't know, but I'll find out. VCs love honesty more than fakes expertise. Let me try this again. Most lucrative thing you do as first-time founder, get really good at saying, I'm not really sure about that, but we'll get that worked on for you, customer, not VC, right? Go find out from your customers what you need to be doing. I'm not a big fan of raising money until you have a product, until you have some revenue. But I'm definitely the minority, but I'm a big bootstrap fan. So not everyone will not everyone will want to hear your startup idea at dinner parties. Save it for people who actually write checks. Now, I kind of going to disagree a little bit with this one, because I think sometimes, now there's a line here, right? Like if you're at a social setting and people aren't really wanting to hear about it, or they know what you're working on and you keep talking about it, nobody likes that guy, right? So I get it. But at the same time, if people are like, hey, what do you do? And you want to start talking about it, like practice your pitch then. That's a great time to practice your elevator pitch. Dive in and get that elevator pitch totally dialed in. You notice at the front of this video, I had my elevator pitch totally dialed in. And it actually continues to morph even after 25 years of building software and 10 years of building companies and brands and 3 years building this brand. We just recently dropped a part of our pitch, right? I'm still working on this. So I actually think this is a great place to practice your pitch, but have enough social cues to know when to shut up, right? So like that's my 2 cents there. All right, if you want to build a team, just start building something worth joining. People follow execution, not PowerPoints. I agree with that. Now, that being said, like there's some different creative ways to build teams, and I have some very unique ways that I build teams. And I won't go into this, but part of our way is that we have a registered apprentice program so that folks in Utah can apply and become part of our registered apprentice program to be able to onboard with zero experience in software development, and we train them up and get them onto jobs. We've been successfully doing this. It's a great partnership with Utah. If you're in another state and you want to partner with us that way, reach out to us. If you're a private company and you want to fund some of that, we're all ears. So head us up at starterpack.com/jobs. Now, this works for everything in startups. Just start. Stop planning the perfect launch and launch the imperfect version. So I have to kind of laugh at this too, because like I said, when I originally started Starter Pack, it originally was an idea of a YouTube channel to be able to tell stories about these 8 brands that I've built, right? And I just thought, I have all of this business experience. I should start about hacking startups, right? Starter Pack. And that's kind of where it came from. The funny thing is, I must have gone through 2 to 3 months worth of planning for what my first videos were going to be. Surprise, nobody watched the videos. I even hired a consultant, and his advice was start making videos. And you know what? He was spot on. Just start. Stop planning. Just start. Because those videos are dead and gone. I don't know if you can find them. I don't know, maybe they're. We've since done over 4,000 videos. Okay, I want you guys to think about that for a minute. 4,000 videos. So did that first video really matter? Like, just start. Stop planning and just start doing it. All right. Although it didn't work too well for 90% of startups that launched too early without any research. So maybe take your wisdom with some user validation. I disagree with this actually pretty entirely. If you have an idea and you're willing to do it as a side hustle, don't quit your day job, right? Quite literally. This one to me says, don't quit your day job, right? Because yes, 90% of startups fail. So guess what? Go work on something and hack on stuff at night. This is how we started Clean Router, right? We were working full-time jobs for the first full year. We actually hired our first employee while we were working day jobs, right? And so like we were actually ducking out of lunch to take support phone calls. We were like answering emails from our phones. Like we bought our first Android so that we could answer emails on support calls, right? So this is what I'm trying to say is like figure out another way to do it, because I would not worry about user validation that much. I would start building something and guess what? Revenue dictate what you want to do. Go where people are going to pay you the money. All right. Speaking of validation, how to validate your idea articles don't work. People read them, they've done research by asking their mom, and wonder why nobody buys their product. Nobody buys their product. There it is, guys. Revenue. Go until somebody buys your product. When somebody hands you money, you have a product. When somebody hands you money, you have a business. That is the whole point. Get that going. Ideas are cheap. Execution is where this is at. Elon Musk recently talked about that. He said it's 10,000 to 100,000 times harder to execute at scale. Go build a product. All right, a sure way to validate your idea is to get someone to pay for it before you build it. Now, that's true, but you'll either have your first customer or learn your idea sucks. Both are valuable. Now, there's a lot in this. There's a lot packed into this. So yes, like I mentioned with Clean Router, we already pre-sold 20 of these just from the first 20 routers, and we actually shipped them in a cardboard box instead of a case because we didn't even have the case yet. And we found out people don't care about the case, right? And so like there's tons of lessons that we learned from this. People cared about how the router performed. And so like this is a really important one because you want a sure way to validate your ideas, and the best way is to get someone to pay for it. Now, I don't really care as much if it's before or after you build it. Like if you want to go build something on the side and then have somebody pay you for it, great, because sometimes it's kind of hard for somebody to give you money on just an idea. So like sure, I would say it's better if you can get somebody to pay for it before you have the idea, but either way, business is where you have money. All right. Stop reading other people's success stories. Their path won't work for you. Your market is different. Your skills are different. Your bank account is definitely different. That's also true. So again, this comes back to revenue solves all problems. Go build something, start selling it. The thing about this is that if you also want to validate an idea, I wouldn't worry as much about this part about like talking to other people. Nowadays, you can use some instant builder that you can build some website with an idea, put a purchase link down on the bottom of it, and start selling it and do like a pre-sale. So if you're gonna sell it for $100, sell it for 20, right? Just like list it out on the site. Go get a site, get some Google Analytics, make a quick YouTube video about it, like literally hold up your phone, talk about it for a second, stick that on the website with that, run $100 of Google Analytics. What did your traffic tell you? Did people bounce from the page? Did they watch the video? Like spend a next week looking at the analytics from the $100 of the first week And for $100, you just validated your business idea. So I'm not a really big fan of like all these different ways about like just try it. Throw together a website, put it out there. It's never been easier to start a business. When we started, Clean Router, it was really hard to start a business. That was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Now it's super easy. So here's the thing nobody tells you about your product market fit. You won't recognize it when you have it. You'll be too busy complaining about complaining about too many customers requests to realize you struck gold. So that's kind of the whole point here. And I agree with this. So with Clean Router, we started building a content filtering router. And then we built in the feature that allowed parents to manage the amount of time kids had on the computer. And we were the first ones to build that into a router. And that exploded. And over 50% of our sales came from the fact that parents could manage their kids' time online. So like it was that, and then like I have pictures of one weekend or 1 week that we sold 200 routers, right? And I remember the first time we hit that mark, it was huge. All right, your first hire will probably be wrong. Your second hire will definitely be wrong. By your third hire, you might actually get it right. Plan accordingly. I don't know. I have mixed emotions over this statement. My first hire at Startup Hack is still with me, and he was with me from before Startup Hack, so I guess I'm kind of biased on this. Fundraising is not an achievement. It takes on debt with extra steps. Celebrate revenue, not investment rounds. I could not agree with this one more. I would even just say celebrate revenue and don't get any investment rounds. If you're building your company right, the old school way, you won't need investment rounds. They say the best time to raise money is when you don't need it. So if you need money, you're missing the boat. Go get revenue. Revenue will solve all problems, okay? Best startup advice comes from founders who failed spectacularly and learned something. The worst comes from people who got lucky once and think they're geniuses. I agree with this because guess what? Brian Chesky talked about founders mode versus managers mode, right? And we started off this tweet by saying somebody who had consulted on a bunch of things and Starbucks lost $30 billion. They hired in the Taco Bell CEO, boom, market cap jump, right? Like this is what I'm talking about is real versus fake. So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say here is, like, yes, somebody who failed spectacularly is part of it, but like, anyways, you will pivot not because pivoting is trendy, but because your original idea was probably solving a problem only you cared about. Very possible, like I talked about. With Clean Router, we knew we'd hit an idea because everybody we talked to said, look, you could put a cable in one side and a cable out the other side, say it filters, and you'd still sell these. And it was true, but we actually built something that really did filter, and it still filters. So go check out cleanrouter.com if you're a parent. Build something people want to pay for, not something that looks good in TechCrunch. Press coverage doesn't pay your developers. One of the things that's interesting is press coverage doesn't sell hardly anything. I've spent an obscene amount of money on marketing and press coverage. Press coverage doesn't sell, but what press coverage does do really, really, really well is turn into a really good advertisement that you can then go put ad dollars behind and make a fantastic ad because nobody realizes it's ad. They think it's press coverage. So that's a great little secret there. So I actually will pay very little for press coverage and then go spend a lot on advertising with it. All right, your MVP will be embarrassing. Ship it anyways. Embarrassment is cheaper than perfection, and perfection is the enemy of done. I could not agree with this possibly more. Like this is so true. I've preached for over a decade that if you're not embarrassed by your first version, you ship too late. Like if you go look at the very first versions of Gmail, they're laughable. And Google kept the beta sticker on it for years. Like, go with this, stick with this, keep going with this. If I could highlight any one thing from this article, it would be revenue solves all problems and this, right? All right, network with other founders, but not just successful ones. I actually think networking's cheap. Go build your product. Don't waste time. If you're trying to raise money, I can kind of get that, but otherwise don't waste time. Go build your freaking company. Learn to say no to features, to meetings, to opportunities, to especially to advice from people who've never built anything or from networking. Learn to say no, right? And so this is true. Like, stay head down. If it's not going to affect your bottom line, if it's not going to affect either your revenue or your net as your founder, you shouldn't really be interested in it. All right, your startup will take 3 times longer and cost 2 times more than you think. Budget accordingly, or learn to love ramen, or learn to sell more crap, right? Like if you're listening to Hormozy, he would say, sell more crap, get on the phone and start selling, right? And that's kind of it. And so this part is right. I wouldn't say budget according. I would say plan to build more revenue than you think you need. All right, competition is good. If nobody else is trying to solve your problem, maybe it's not actually a problem worth solving. It's very true. Read your customer support emails, all of them. They contain more product insights. You have to be really careful with this. I hear this counsel over and over again. You have to be kind of careful because sometimes this can get you down. I had a guy who was like my number 2 in one of my first companies, and he always got really down reading customer support emails because all he saw was the flaws in the product. And so every product is going to have its flaws, every single one. If you get too stuck on those, it makes it so you can't really sell very well the good things. So you're going to have to figure out how to sell the good things, work on the bad things, pay attention to them, and I get that. But at the same, and so I'm not telling you to ignore them, but I'm saying you have to kind of take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. Don't quit your day job, period. Don't quit your day job until you have 6 months of expensive saving, customers asking why you can't pay more. That's like this part's possibly true. I would, if I were writing this, I would say don't quit your day job until the revenue from your company comfortably replaces the revenue you get from your day job. That would be my advice here. The hardest part isn't building the product, it's finding people who care enough to use it. Focus on caring, not the using. Now, there's a lot of these. Oh, we're almost there. So the hardest part of building product isn't building products. Finding people who care enough to use it. Focus on caring, not the using. Kind of true. Your friends will get tired of hearing about your startup. That's normal. Find other founders to complain to instead. If your friends get tired about hearing about your startup, they're not your friends. Every overnight success took 7 years. Set your expectations accordingly and maybe keep that day job a bit longer. That I totally agree with. I love the Steve Jobs quote that says, I'm amazed by how many overnight successes took a heck of a long time, right? And that's totally true. Leila Hormozi says that success takes forever to come, and then as soon as it does, you're surprised by how fast it goes. And it's true because it's like, the 7 years seems about right to me. We had to slog through Clean Router for 10 years before I got Startup Hack, and that's kind of where we're at. The best time to start a company was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. That I totally agree with. This goes with the saying of best time to plant a tree was yesterday. Get started, but do it on the side and keep that day job. You'll make mistakes, expensive ones. That's true. I think the very first year of Startup Hack, I burned, and it was my own money, but I think I don't even want to say how much I burned. It was a lot. Let's just say I learned a lot, but they are expensive ones. Embarrassing ones, also true. Public ones, also true. Make them faster so you can learn faster. That I agree with. I should add more profound wisdom, but honestly, most startup advice is common sense wrapped in buzzwords. Also very true. There's a lesson right there, and it's trusting your instincts over guru advice. And that's exactly right. And this is exactly why Brian Chesky was talking about founders mode versus manager mode. When you talk about a manager coming in, this is what you get, right? Somebody from a consulting service coming in and telling you how it should be done. Real startups get down in so deep that they actually know what their instincts are about the business. That's why they started it. So the Taco Bell CEO being able to do well at Starbucks isn't a surprise because he knows from his gut what that is. Now, curious to hear what you guys think. What was the best part of that? Which one did you agree with the most? Which one did you disagree? Here at Startup Hack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies as well as to help you to make your company super successful. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some great information about our services.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.